I think to actually hear the way that staff talk about the people that they support and the way that they talk about PBS as well. So after they've had the training and the way that they make it relevant to the work that they do. I had a discussion with one of them a few weeks ago, and they were using phrases like, there's been an incident, and a couple of hours later it was, they've gone back down to baseline, we've used the proactive strategies, they're not shown any early warning signs of escalation. And I thought, they've got it, like this is it, they understand and they've bought in. So I think that for me is, once you've got the buy-in from the staff, that's what you know. One of the hardest things is probably at the same time getting the staff to actually buy into it when you're trying to change a culture or the way that people have worked for a long time, to say actually this is what works now and this is the way we have to do it. It was quite hard working with people who worked in this line of work for a long time and trying to say no, this is actually the way that it needs to go now. And it was a big challenge, but once we started finding those examples of good practice and seeing it working, the staff kind of thought, okay, this does work. And then more people were like, can we try that with this person? And we got it around it that way. But I think that was probably one of the biggest challenges as well. I think one of the biggest success stories that comes straight to mind is the guy who is in his late 40s now, and he lived in a hospital for 20 years due to behaviours of concern and just not being able to support him anywhere else. Following that, he went into a community at ISL, but actually that completely failed. The staff were burnt out. He lived quite an isolated life where he didn't see anybody but the staff. And what ended up happening was he had to come back into a bigger, larger service where he has his own apartment and his own staff team, and we did a full assessment on his behaviours, did loads of functional analysis on it, got a core team of staff, and it's a year on now, and it's the best he's ever been. He's achieving so many things. He's out in the community all the time. His family are over the moon with how he's doing, and he's just genuinely really happy. And I think that's definitely the biggest success story that I can think of. I think probably before I really even knew what PBS was, I was working with people and kind of seeing that actually the whole thing is about making people happy and making sure that we're supporting people to live a life that's very full and that they want to live. And by doing that, you get rid of all the problems of the potential behaviours of concern that you might see, and actually that's the best way to go. So that's kind of what led us to PBS, and thought, this is exactly what I've been thinking about and this is what it is. And that was years ago now, but I think that was one of the first people that I worked with and just thought, this is the way that it has to be done. I think by empowering the staff as much as possible and involving them in the whole process of PBS, involving them in care plans and support plans and strategies, they'll get the light bulb moments themselves when they actually think of the solutions and they think of the ideas, and then they actually go and try it and say that it works, and it's not somebody telling them to do it. I think that's probably a really good way of trying to get that for them.